Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 Canadian Premier League U Sports Draft. My name is Christian Jack, and warm welcome wherever you are watching us on our CPL YouTube channel, for example, on One Soccer, or of course on CBC Gem. What a night we have in store. The next hour is going to be truly thrilling for 16 young individuals as they get their opportunity to be rostered and to obviously get drafted by a CPL club. Within the next hour, 16 of those will be drafted by CPL teams and given an opportunity of a lifetime in what is the fourth annual such event. Some notable names from within our league have got their opportunity by being drafted in the U Sports Draft. Halifax Wanderers trio, names like Peter Scharler, Corey Bent, and of course, Jake Ruby. Isaiah Johnston of York United, Garvin Matusla of Forge, and Victor Lattori, all of Cavalry. Three of the best under 21 players in the 2021 season have all been drafted in this fashion, and we'll also be hearing from one of those players very, very shortly. I will also be joined by the CPL Director of Football, Oliver Gage, to talk about this pathway and other exciting ventures in the league. Representatives of 8 clubs will be here to make their official picks, and we will also try to get on a player or two throughout the show as teams make their picks live. Here indeed is the draft format for this evening. It will be 2 rounds in the same order, no snake draft like in the past, and it will be Atletico Ottawa who will open each round with their pick by virtue of finishing narrowly at the bottom of the 2021 Canadian Premier League standings. A late Eastern Ongaro strike in their final match against Forge secured FC Edmonton's 7th spot and second here in the draft. They'll be followed by Halifax Wanderers, whose playoff bid ended on a dramatic final corner kick deep into injury time at a packed Wanderers grounds, finishing a point out of the playoffs, as did Valor FC, whose 3 wins in the last 5 games brought them close to the playoff line, but they will pick 4th. They'll be followed by playoff debutants York United. Cavalry FC will go at number 6 once again for the second successive season, having both those teams lost the CPL semi-finals. Forge, after a wonderful season in all competitions, are next, and we finish each round with the champs from the island. That's right, Pacific FC will make picks number 8 and 16. Delighted now to be joined by a former U Sports draft pick himself. He went 10th overall in the 2019 edition, and already we can say that was a tremendous pick by York United. Arguably one of the finest under 21 players in the CPL this season, and a man who was voted 27th overall in the CPL 50, looking back at the league's best performers throughout the season. Delighted to be joined by Isaiah Johnston of York United. Isaiah, thanks for joining us.
Hey, KJ, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. 2 years ago, you were in this position, Isaiah, eligible to be drafted out of Cape Breton. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was a good experience. I came off a pretty good season with Cape Breton, and I just remember being in one of my teammates' rooms in our dorm there. And I think it was 5 or 6 of us. And I just remember hearing my name and everybody congratulating me. And it was an awesome feeling knowing that I get my first chance to be in a pro environment with a pro club, and it was amazing.
Yeah, what a wonderful story. Thanks for that recollection. What advice then would you give to the 16 players who are going to go through that experience tonight? What would you give them as they're watching on, hoping to hear their names called?
I think the biggest thing is enjoy the moment. When you hear your name, enjoy it and really take it in that it's your first drive into a pro team, a pro league, and the second thing is after you take it in and enjoy that moment, you got to be ready to come and put in the work. It really just starts now, and the jump isn't easy, but if you put in the work, it will pay off.
It certainly has paid off for yourself. And let's get into your season. Individually, you're a standout player for York United. You missed just 3 league games. You're a key cog in their run to the playoffs. How do you reflect on that season individually and your own growth on the pitch? How did that come for you this year?
After being in my first season in the Island Games and only getting 14 minutes, I think I worked really hard in the offseason and coming to preseason. It was good. I had a good preseason, and just being able to have a good season, score my first professional goal, and really contribute to the team. I'm really proud of myself for the season I had, and I'm looking to continue to build on that next year or this year.
Yeah, you certainly should be. I mean, we're seeing some of your highlights here from 2021. That pass there to Lowell Wright, one of the assists of the season, no doubt, and some great goals, particularly as well. That one with the outside of the boot when you're in the bubble. Final one for you. And again, thanks so much for sharing your evening with us. This young York United team, obviously you get a new coach. We're going to hear from Martin Nash this season, but you guys had a tremendous year, getting to the playoffs together, something that you can never take away. You're going to add some more international flavor, but it looks like, even though you guys do a lot of work, that you guys are having a lot of fun. It's a young team, and it looks like you all get along. What's the camaraderie like with these youngsters on the pitch?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think we just love every moment and we enjoy every moment. I think we all really enjoy each other, from the young kids to the vets on our team, and everybody gets along. You know what I mean? So I think every day in the change room, every day on the training pitch, and every game we play, we go into the game, really liking each other, and we all trust each other and have each other's back. So it was amazing to be with them all season.
And before I let you go, you got that one taste of playoff experience. I'd imagine next season it's beyond that, right? You want to be winning in the playoffs.
Of course. That's what everyone plays for, to lift that trophy at the end of the season. So that's exactly what we're looking for this year.
Well, good luck with that, my man. And again, I can't thank you for coming on. You're a real inspiration. I know a lot of these players tonight have been looking at your example as a shining example of the pathway of being drafted 10th overall 2 years ago, and now, without question, one of the best midfielders in our league. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, KJ. Enjoy.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Isaiah Johnston. And if you've not seen much of him, I suggest you watch more York games, because like many of our young players in the Canadian Premier League, he has got an extremely bright future. Joined now with our second guest of the evening. Let's bring on Oliver Gage, the CPL Director of Football, who works very closely with clubs in all aspects. Ollie, thanks for joining us.
KJ, no problem at all. Great to be here.
Thanks, my man. We just heard from Isaiah, a shining example of what talent can be found in this pathway. Maybe you can talk a little bit about him, but how important is it for clubs to seek players like that tonight and give them crucial minutes going forward this year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just to go back to Isaiah, I mean, what a great story and what a great player. Full of energy, box-to-box midfielder. I was in the bubble in Winnipeg. I saw him score that goal. Very talented, and I got on well with Angus McNabb, and he tells me he's a great person to have around the locker room, and a great pro. So perfect example of what youth sports can bring for these clubs. And the college environment. I'm a former college player myself, which is how I ended up in North America, down in the States. But I think it's a perfect introduction for some of these players to something a bit more like professional soccer, training every single day, competing every single day, playing in high-level games. And there's a lot of value to be found here in the draft, as we've seen. We'll probably end up talking about a couple more draftees, I'm sure, but there's players to be found here, and clubs are taking the draft very seriously. And I'm really excited about this year's crop as well.
Ollie, a fine individual player himself, but not quite as good as his dad. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying that. By the way, the first ever Aston Villa game I went to, his dad scored the first ever goal. So we've bonded over that over many times as well. But Ollie, not quite as good as his dad, but a fine, good player himself. Let's talk about some of these players, Ollie. This is a league clearly defined by being young and Canadian, and they're not just names thrown out. The minutes back it up, the rules back it up. There are many shining examples of players being given opportunities, like Isaiah Johnston, for example. That is what excites players in this draft alone, Ollie, because they know they're going to get opportunities. And it is also why some players have made the pathway to youth sports from elsewhere to get this opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I mentioned it last year before the draft. We were starting to see some players return home from the NCAA and play in youth sports with this exact possibility in mind. Having been through that system myself, you go there as an 18-year-old and you're going to do 4 years, most likely, in the NCAA and get drafted as a 22-year-old and have a very long shot at, playing significant minutes in Major League Soccer. Whereas at youth sports, you can carry on your university education. You can retain all the kind of flexibility and the advantages of that, but you can play pro soccer as an 18, 19, 20-year-old. I mean, it's a very innovative, first of its kind program that's been mimicked by some other sports in the country, which is always a great sign. And it's working. We're really happy with how it's gone so far. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Some of the stars of the league came through youth sports. So really, really encouraged by it so far.
No doubt about it. Talking of stars and young players getting the opportunities in this way, Easton Ongaro, former draft pick from back in 2018. He is the league's all-time leading goal scorer and recently departed the Canadian Premier League after another excellent year with FC Edmonton, signing a deal with Uta Arad in the Romanian top tier. We had a great interview with him, by the way, on CPL.ca. You can check out Charlie O'Connor-Clark's interview with him and feature on there that people can read and watch. Ollie, this is great news for Eastern, but also young players in our league. Again, players will get drafted tonight are looking at that, thinking another great pathway and opportunity that they can follow here if they put in the work and can be quite successful like Eastern's been in our league.
Yeah, jokingly, I call him like the Chris Wondolowski of the CPL sometimes, Wondolowski, I think, famously went 47 or 48 maybe in an MLS draft back in the day and ended up being an incredible goal scorer for the national team and the league. And, Eastern has shown exactly what can be achievable by guys through the youth sports draft. And even if you do go later on in the draft, I think Easton was a 3rd round pick, wasn't he, in the first ever draft? Even if you do go on later on in the draft, if you're the number 1 or the number 100 or whatever it is, you all are a player on a roster when it comes to day 1 of preseason. But what an incredible story. Playing at college, playing at pro, scoring a ton of goals, getting a dream move to Europe. He had a loan move before, which was very difficult for a number of reasons. I mean, COVID and a stop-start season, and probably not quite in the rhythm that he'd like to be when he gets his first shot in Europe. But now he's got a chance, Romanian First Division, go prove yourself in Europe, go score some goals just like you've done here. And what an incredible story for the league. And every time a Canadian moves to Europe or fulfills their dream through the CPL, that is exactly what this league is about right now. And we're incredibly happy for him, and we hope he does really well.
Yeah, currently 9th in the Romanian league as well, by the way. They are contending for Europe, just a couple of wins out. And Easton was pretty buoyant when he spoke to us, saying the message was, we want you to simply score goals and help us try and climb up to try and get in those European spots. And nobody does it better in our league in the last 3 seasons or so than Easton Ongaro. Ollie, before I let you go, talking of FC Edmonton, I know they're keeping you busy in the off-season here. Are you getting any sleep at all as you try and put together this roster?
Between Edmonton and the 1-year-old at home, sleep's a fine commodity in my house these days. But it's a fun task. It's a fun challenge. Alan Koch has been incredible to work with so far, I have to say. He's dealt with some uncertainty over the last few months, and he's been a top professional. And even when you talk about this draft, him and Brendan, the staff there, their preparations, their scouting reports, everything like that. There's a lot of really good work that's gone into this thing, and the due diligence has been done. So I'm really excited to see who they go with tonight.
Yeah, very well said. Well, we're going to find that out in less than 5 minutes. So stick around, FC Edmonton fans. Alan Koch will be with us very shortly. Ollie, thank you very much. We'll let you go back and watch the draft with your 1-year-old.
Thank you very much. He's in bed, but I'll be tidying up his toys, and I'll have it on for sure.
Sounds great. Thanks very much for joining us again, and we appreciate all your work. CPL's Director of Football, Oliver Gage. Okay, let's put the reminder up of the draft order before we start with Atletico Ottawa, who are now on the clock, and we'll go out to the nation's capital very shortly. A reminder, here we go again. 16 players, 16 slots will be drafted within the next 45 minutes or so. Ottawa are on the clock. FC Edmonton, HFX Wanderers out of Halifax, Valor FC, York United, Cavalry, followed by Forge, and then again the champs Pacific FC. Same order for round 2 as well, keeping it simple. As I mentioned, Atletico Ottawa are on the clock, so let's go out to the nation's capital indeed. And there's been some changes in the offseason there as well. We're going to get to that later on as well with Fernando Lopez, their CEO, and he joins me now. Fernando, thank you for joining us. We'll pass it right over to you as you get to make the first pick of the 2022 CPL U Sports Draft.
Thanks, KJ, and have a good night, everybody. We have someone very special delivering this first pick for us. So,
with the first pick overall in the 2022 CPL draft, Atletico Ottawa select José Cunha.
José Cunha, from one Portuguese star to another, perhaps. Thank you, João Felix, for announcing that pick. José Cunha goes to Atletico Ottawa, a 20-year-old player originally from Portugal, a left-footed centre-back listed at 6'1", can also be deployed in central midfielder. Former academy player in Portugal at the noted Sporting Academy and also Estoril, his hometown club. Describes himself as a modern-day footballer who likes to be active in possession, always looking to distribute going forward as well. In his second year in his studies right now at Cape Breton, he scored 2 goals last year in the season in 12 games. Also drafted last year, by the way, by Forge, but didn't sign. Fernando, what was it about this player and his attributes that caught your eye?
Well, I think Jose is a player that will provide us a lot of flexibility. As you said, he has been played as a left side midfielder, but he can also play as a solid center back. I think he's very strong in the air, in defensive actions, and what stood out to us is his ability with the ball, and how he was able to break lines and open passes through the opposition. So we're extremely excited to get the preseason started and welcoming Jose to Ottawa.
Yeah, very well said. It should be an excellent player to go into what is a roster that is being developed. I know tons of announcements to come in the next few weeks for you, but let's talk about what we do know. Jose will get to join a core group. I'm thinking of the likes of Manella and McKendry, Drew Becky, obviously Miguel Acosta, and your two strikers up front, Brian Wright and obviously Malcolm Shaw. How delighted are you to retain that core foundation heading into 2022?
Well, I think it's key in order to achieve what we wanted to achieve. It is true that even if we had a tough 2021 season, it was key to retain, the foundations of what we believe is going to be a great team for 2022. And we have a great representation on the 7 players that we have been announced already, and we are very excited what is coming for next season.
Thank you, Fernando, and thank you, João Felix, for joining us as well to give us that announcement. That's fantastic, the Atletico Madrid superstar. We'll hear from Fernando again later in the draft as we get back to kick off round 2. As we said earlier, the pick is already on the clock. FC Edmonton are on the clock, so let's go out there to FC Edmonton head coach and director of football operations, Mr. Alan Koch. We already heard from Oliver Gage, already talking about him as well. And we'll get to Alan Koch here shortly as he gets to make his pick as well. Actually, before we do that, if we can get Jose Cunha on the line, it would be great if we can get him into the show. He's here. Oh, that's great. That's live television for you. Fantastic. Jose, thanks for joining us. How special of a night is this for you?
It's a very special night. Good evening, Christian. It's very special. I'm thrilled.
So when you hear your name called like that from Atletico Ottawa and the connections that they have with Atletico Madrid, and then obviously you hear what Fernando has to say, you must be delighted to be joining the nation's capital club.
Yeah, it's great to hear people trust your abilities and to see a project like Atletico Ottawa and the structure they have behind them to trust in a player like me, and it's really good that I feel proud of myself that I can be part of this project, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, you talk about getting started. Just give our viewers a little bit of background with your pathway. We heard João Felix announce you there, which was pretty fitting considering your Portuguese connection, and that must put a smile on your face, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. He's one of the references for everyone, one of the best players the Portuguese generation has for the upcoming years, and it was nice to see him call my name.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Good for you. What about the journey to Canada? What was it that excited you, and how have you developed here as a player since you've come to Cape Breton?
So it's a pathway that interested me because of my international education, my background, and I always wanted to pursue education and football at the same time, something that wasn't possible or wasn't really viable in Portugal. So coming here was a chance to do both and to even stay close to the pro, to the path to becoming a pro. So since I've come here, I think I was able to really enjoy and take an advantage of what I have learned in the past and kind of enjoy my time in the youth sports context.
Yeah, fantastic. Your English is excellent, by the way. And how much have you enjoyed Canada and what is really happening here right now in the soccer scene? Obviously, with the women winning the gold in the Olympics and the men's national team trying to make it to the World Cup and getting very close. And obviously, what has been a successful Canadian Premier League season last year. What have you liked about the soccer culture here in this country?
I think it's something that's growing really, really quickly, and the quicker the better. As more people we can bring onto the Canadian football scene, the better. And it's exciting times because there's so much potential.
Well, Jose, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. It caught me by surprise. We were able to turn it around quickly. So thanks to my crack staff behind the scenes. But congratulations again to hear your name called in this manner, to be first overall and to go to what is a fantastic club in Atletico Ottawa. I wish you nothing but the good for the future. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jose Cunha, the first overall pick in the 2022 CPL U Sports Draft. Fantastic, we're able to get him on so quickly. And again, thank you to to João Felix, and of course to Fernando Lopez at Atletico Ottawa. FC Edmonton, as I mentioned, are on the clock, and they've been on the clock for a couple of minutes, so I'm pretty sure they'll be ready for their pick as we naturally move through this live. And for that, we'll bring in their head coach and director of football operations, Alan Koch. Alan, thanks for joining us. How are you tonight?
Not so bad, KJ. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing great, thank you. Great to see your face again. I know it's been a tumultuous off-season so far. We'll get into that later, but nobody speaks more passionately about this club than you. So it's a pleasure for me to pass it over to you now to announce your pick.
Yeah, with the second pick in the 2022 CPL U Sports Draft, we pick from Cape Breton University, Cairo Koch.
Cairo Koch, back-to-back players from Cape Breton, as they recently turned 21-year-old Cairo, an attacking player from Whitby, Ontario, who scored an impressive 15 goals in 12 matches this past season, 3 game winners. Koch scored 4 goals in 1 game versus Arcadia back in September and ended the season with goals in 8 straight games. Product of the Erin Mill Soccer Club in Mississauga, he moved to Cape Breton after 2 seasons in the NCAA with Saginaw Valley State Cardinals in Michigan. Alan, what was it about this player that drew your attention to immediately to come up with the second overall pick?
Yeah, we're very excited about Cairo. You can see it in those clips already. Quick and scores goals. We knew we needed somebody up top, and he's gone and scored goals down in the NCAA. He's scored goals here in U Sports. He's motivated. He's hungry. We've had some very positive chats with him, and we're incredibly excited to bring him in. He's a guy that there's certain things you can teach, but you cannot teach pace. And a lot of the time, it's very, very difficult to refine goal scoring abilities. So you can see from these clips, he's a goal scorer, and we're looking forward to bringing him into camp.
Certainly looks that way. Describes himself as a versatile attacking player that can play across the front line. Quickly, you are looking to replace Easton Ongaro. We talked about him off the top of the show as well. He was drafted in this draft, obviously, a few years ago now, and has gone on to Romania. You had a year with him. What was it like coaching him this year, and how delighted are you to see him follow his dream in Europe?
We're ecstatic for Easton. We knew that was the plan all along last year, is to try to set him up for success so he could score goals again. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of last year, I actually challenged him not to be just somebody who scored goals in one professional season, and fair play to him. He scored a lot of goals again last year. So we're incredibly proud of him, and we're excited to see how he does in Romania.
Thank you, Alan. We'll see you back for the second round pick shortly. Halifax Wanderers are on the clock, and we go out now to their head coach and general manager himself, Mr. Stephen Hart, one of my favorite guys in sport. I always got a smile on his face, and every time I talk to this man, he teaches me something. Without further ado, Stephen, over to you to make your pick, please.
Hello, KJ. With the third pick overall, we select Christopher Campoli of the Ontario Tech University.
Chris Campoli of Ontario Tech University, a 20-year-old attacking midfielder from Woodbridge, Ontario, third-year student at Ontario Tech studying finance, a former youth player at Woodbridge, Unionville, and Toronto FC Academy. The midfielder is known as a player who has a tremendous eye for goal. He net 12 goals in 10 games this season. Campoli was taken 4th overall by York last year, but did not sign. A very good attacking player that works well in tight spaces is also described by scouts as well, as you can see in some of these clips. But that's just some of the stats that we've observed. Stephen, what was it about you and your team that attracted you to Chris?
I liked how he was direct at times. He can score goals and create goals. He's got good vision. And I like that. He's not a very predictable player, and sometimes you need that imagination, that invention, and he certainly showed it from what we've seen.
Excellent. Stephen, I think you're probably one of the best people to ask this next question about, because your team, I think, more than anybody, has taken advantage of getting real talent out of this draft. I mentioned it off the top of the show. Obviously, you got Corey Bent there, Peter Charlet. You've got many other, Christian Oxner, many players. What is it about this draft that excites you, and the quality that you see in U Sports?
Well, I think it's sort of a different catchment basin, so to speak, of talent. And one that you can scout quite easily and get a good sort of feel for the player. I mean, obviously, you never know until they come in and have to train every day. but it is an avenue, it is a pathway, and one we've tried our best to exploit.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate you joining us. We'll get you back in for the second round. Valor FC, by the way, out of Winnipeg, are on the clock. Their 4th overall pick should be made pretty soon. And I'm delighted now to be joined on this format for the first time by their head coach and general manager, Philip Desatos, who was recruited by Valor and came in the second half of this season. Philip, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Over to you, my man, to make your pick, please.
Thank you, KJ. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. How are you?
Good. With the 4th overall pick of the 2022 CPL draft, Valor selects Rain Lin from Cape Breton University.
Rain Lin out of Cape Breton. That makes it 3 of the first 4 picks as the Capers inside the top 4 as the 5'7" central midfielder goes to Valor. Lin is from Burlington, Ontario, age 20, and is a second-year student out in Cape Breton. The former Oakville Blue Devil and product of Oakville Soccer Club, can also play right back and describes himself as a hard-working central midfielder, currently studying Bachelor of Business Administration. Should he make the team and play inside Valor's excellent midfield, he could have the opportunity to join the likes of, obviously, Raphael Oheen and Daryl Fordyce, 2 of the players that the club has re-signed. Phil, what did you like about this player? What was your team attracted to the most about him?
We like how dynamic he was, how he gets on the ball. We feel it's a player that could help us in the phase of build-up. He's a player that sees the game forward, and he covers a lot of ground. He's also a player that could recover a lot of balls for his team. So we're excited to see how he's going to come in and be able to mesh and join the quality midfield that we have and that we want to put in place.
You certainly do have one of the best midfields in the league, no doubt about it. And you can see from some of these clips just how much quality Rain brings. And by the way, that has been a fantastic achievement from that university to have 3 players inside the first 4 picks. Talking about U Sports picks or U Sports players that can be signed, you just got a new one this week as well. Maybe you can tell some of the viewers about Mateo de Brian and obviously what you think about him and the way that your squad is starting to become assembling and getting into preseason.
Yeah, we were high on Mateo. We thought he's a young player that has a high ceiling and a high margin of progression. So for us, it was important to secure him. We feel it's a player that could come in and grow a lot in the environment, and it's also a player that could do well based on a positional need that we have. You know how their rules and those U21 minutes are important to be logged. So we felt strongly about the player, and for us it was an easy decision. Let's make a move and let's do it before, it's a player that we felt could have gone in a top 3 position. So we were bold, but I think it's a calculated risk, and we're confident about it.
He's certainly a player that deserves that kind of attention and excellent signing by your club. Look forward to watching him this season as well. And what an entertaining team you have. And we all saw that at the end of last season. Phil, thank you so much for your pick. We'll be back to see you in the second round. York United are currently on the clock. And as I mentioned with Isaiah Johnston off the top, one of the best clubs to watch, no doubt about it, in 2021. What a remarkable year they had getting to the playoffs. Every credit, one of the youngest teams, in fact, the youngest team. They blew through their minutes very early in under 21 minutes. And I'm delighted now to be joined by their new head coach, Martin Nash, who is here to make their pick. Martin, good to see you. Pleasure to see you wearing the green. I know Tommy's coming up next. You'll be surprised to see you in green all of a sudden. We'll get to Tommy. And by the way, Cavalry will be on the clock shortly. But I'll pass it over to you to make your pick, please.
Thanks, KJ. With the 5th pick, York United select Christian Rossi out of Trinity Western University.
Christian Rossi out of Trinity Western is a 19-year-old striker from Surrey, BC, who was named U Sports Rookie of the Year for 2021 after netting 5 goals in 12 matches for the Spartans this past campaign. Excelled this season in a versatile attacking position where he played through the middle or often on the right wing. A second-year kinesiology student describes himself as extremely quick, dynamic, and technical player. Should he make the roster, as we said earlier, one of the finest young rosters in the game, he could be playing with the likes of Lowell Wright going forward. Martin, what attracted you to this player?
Yeah, I think dynamic. He's got pace. He can run at players. He can score goals. He's just a threat for any backline, and he excited me watching him play, and I think he'll be a good fit for us.
Yeah, it looks like that. You can see he's got a real eye for the goal. As I said, great to see you in Green, and with that backdrop, I know you're now in town, and you spent, obviously, for those who don't know, the past 4 seasons with the excellent Tommy Wilden Jr. in Calgary. As we just finished watching the clips here of Christian Rossi, what was it about this York United project that excited you so much about working with these players as you head into the first year being in charge of the club?
Yeah, I think it's a great squad. Obviously, they did really well this year. They're very dynamic, got a good mix of youth and experience, and it's an exciting prospect. I think there's a high ceiling for this group, and it's really exciting for me to be at York United, and I'm looking forward to getting to work with the players.
Yeah, looking forward to watching that as well. Thanks, Martin. We'll see you back in for the second round. As I mentioned earlier, your former employees, Cavalry FC, have been on the clock for a couple of minutes. So let's go to Calgary now and bring in Tommy Wilden Jr., their GM and head coach. Here he is. Tommy, great to see you. Over to you to make your pick, please.
Thanks, KJ. With the 6th pick in the first round, Cavalry FC selects Caden Rogozinski from Mount Royal University.
Caden Rogozinski, a second 19-year-old player in a row, goes in the draft as the second defender. Also goes, Rogozinski is from Calgary and is, of course, familiar with Cavalry through his play with the Foothills. Tommy knows him very well, as I mentioned, at Mount Royal University right now. A strong young centre-back who is in the second year of studying business at Mount Royal. Describes himself as a technical centre-half, comfortable on the ball, who likes to lead and take control of games. Was also named to the U Sports All-Rookie team for 2021. Tommy, what was it about this player that attracted you, and a player that obviously you've known well, but you also made a pick last year at number 6 with Victor Lattori. I'd imagine you'd be hopeful of some more success with this one.
And that seemed to work out well, didn't it?
It did.
But yeah. You know, Caden's a terrific young man. You know, watched him since he was a young player, and now he's doing very well under Ryan Jackie at Mount Royal. But he's had a good upbringing, and I think there's not many better mentors he could have had than my own brother in Jay Wilden, who was a terrific centre-back himself. So the lad's got pace. He's a quiet leader. He's a fierce warrior. But for us, you know, he's one that we think is a very modern-day centre-back, and actually in many ways reminds me of, you know, a young Dominic Zator who worked with a similar age. So yeah, it's an exciting pick. We think he's ready to be challenged in the professional environment, and we're looking forward to having him in a pre-season. Just a reminder, Forge are on the clock. We're going to get to Bobby Smirniotis shortly, but we mentioned Victor Lattori there for a reason, because what a season he's had. Tommy, I don't think many other people would be able to speak as a high level as you about the importance of this night, where you can get genuine talent in this league and where Canadians get opportunities. How thrilled are you to see this pathway for young Canadians, and how much, you know, quality can you continue to find this way as a coach and a GM in this league? It's brilliant. It's world leading. Ollie said it at the start of this show, and not many countries are able to do this. And Victor Lattori is a great example. We signed him as a 17-year-old at high school in 2019, and he didn't quite get the minutes we wanted. So we sent him back into the U Sports system and later drafted him out, and, you know, just recently signed him to an extension on his pro deal. So, you know, it's there. It works. It's a great way to get young players, young Canadian players, into the CPL and beyond. Yeah, well said. Lattori up there, as I mentioned, with Johnston as being one of the best young midfielders in our league, and now getting some international minutes as well. Tommy, thanks for this. We'll see you back in about 20 minutes or so, 50 minutes or so for the second round. Now joined by Bobby Smirniotis, the technical director and head coach of Forge. What a season they had. And we go over to Hamilton, Ontario, for Bobby to make the 7th overall pick.
All right, with the 7th pick in the 2022 CPL draft, Forge FC selects central defender from the University of Quebec, Trois-Rivières, Guillaume Pianelli.
Guillaume Pianelli is a centre-back from, as Bobby said, the University of Quebec, Trois-Rivières. A 23-year-old, 6'4" centre-back from Bastia in France. Can also play in midfield. He's a third-year student of physical education teaching. He has played competitively already in France in the 3rd National Division before moving to Canada. Forge, of course, got a fantastic amount of quality out of their 2021 U Sports draft pick, Garvin Matusala, who went on to play meaningful minutes, playing in 24 of 28 CPL games this season, as well as some massive minutes in the CPL, obviously in the CONCACAF League semi-final as well. Bobby, what is it about this young man that will appeal to you and your team?
Yeah, he's a player we've known for a while now, going back to previous U Sport drafts and just watching him over the last couple of years. This is a player who's obviously a very good defender. He can play. He can move the ball out of the back, which is something that's important to us and the way we want to play. And well formed as a youth player in France, done a great job in the university system, and just brings a lot of attributes that we look for in a defender at Forge.
I mentioned it there about Matusala as well. You drafted one last year. I'd imagine if you could get anywhere close to what you got out of Matusala in 2021 with Pianelli, you'd be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, Garvin is fantastic. You know, you look at his progress over the year and starting off as a squad player and making his way into the lineup to playing important games in CONCACAF League for us. He's been absolutely excellent, and we look forward to his bright future. And hopefully this young man coming in will be able to do the same.
Excellent. Thanks, Bobby. We'll have you back in for the second round very shortly. Appreciate that. We'll conclude. I'll get it out in a second. We'll conclude the first round now with the champs. That's how it works. We'll go out to the island. and joined by associate head coach and technical director of Pacific Football Club, Mr. James Merriman. James, great to see you, my man. Over to you to make the pick.
Good to see you, KJ. Thanks. With the 8th pick, Pacific FC selects Luca Ricci from the University of Montreal.
Luca Ricci out of the University of Montreal has got a very distinguished resume already. Previously a CF Montreal Academy player, a ball-playing comfortable midfielder who is 23 from Dorval in Quebec. Also had stints with Phoenix Rising in USL, Ottawa Fury in USL, and had a loan stint back with the Montreal Impact back in 2019. A very good university player, central midfielder, assisted, of course, on Julien Bruce's big goal in the National Championship, which came in the 114th minute. And what a dramatic game that was for those of you who were able to see that. James, what was it about this player that attracted you and your team to him?
I think you just said it, KJ. He's got an excellent background and he's had professional experience. He comes from Montreal Impact Academy, CF Montreal, spent time at Phoenix Rising and Ottawa Fury. So he's been in professional environments. That is something that was very interesting to us. And then watching his games and following him more closely, you can see he's a very technical player, very comfortable receiving the ball in tight spaces, good control. And as you can see there, he's got a good vision and likes to try and find those forward passes. So a lot of qualities, and he's a very interesting player for us.
Yeah, he certainly looks like a player who could make a difference right away. Talking about players that makes difference right away, obviously there's been some high-profile departures from your team, but you've also had some big-time re-signing players as well. Think about, obviously, Irving in goal, Thomas Mia-Giguère, Jamar Dixon coming back. How is the squad assembly coming together for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, those are three big leaders in our locker room, right? So very important for our team to have them back, and excited to have them return. And it'll be also really good to see TMG, right? He's missed most of the season last year, so I know he's very much looking forward to camp, and as the rest of the group. So looking forward to it.
Sounds good. We'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes to conclude the draft, James, in the second round. Appreciate this.
Thanks, KJ.
That's the end of the first round. What a round that's been. And as I said, some history there. No doubt about that. Just a fantastic history to see. 3 players inside the first 4 all come from Cape Breton University. And because of that, before we get to the second round, delighted now to be joined by Cape Breton University coach himself, Mr. Dino Morley, who's going to join us. Dino, thanks for joining us. Christian Jack, great to speak to you. What a night this is for your university. How proud are you?
Oh, incredibly proud of these players. Brilliant moment for the program. And, I'm excited that these lads will go on, and I know they'll represent us well. They'll represent U Sport well. And it's just an excellent pathway, and see these young lads get this chance. It's excellent. Let's break them all down individually, if you don't mind. Let's go with the first overall pick, Jose Cunha, who goes to Atletico Ottawa. What does that club and that fan base, what are they going to get out of a player that you know well? They're going to get a very intelligent football player with high level of game management, beautiful technician, very technically gifted. I love his vision and range of passing. And what I love about him, he can play in key positions. He's very comfortable as a left-sided centre-back. But we moved him into the midfield to enhance creativity and possession in our side this year, and he brought that in space. So that ability to control games, the pace of game, I think he's settling quickly, and he's a mature young man that will do well in a professional setting. Excellent stuff. And the second overall pick, Cairo Core, goes to FC Edmonton. And we talked earlier in the show about how dynamic of a player he looks, scoring goals for fun for you. What are they getting, and what was that like to coach a player of that quality? Yeah, I think it speaks to what the CPL is doing for Canada as well, and for youth sports. A player that came out of the States to come back here, prove himself, and he did that. And he came in hungry, had to work hard, had to earn his spot, got better as the year went on. And I think, you know, what's most critical is when players are confident and they're competent, and then they go out and they do well. And once he got confident, there was no stopping him. He can finish left foot, can finish right foot. And if you've got a team that's going to put balls in behind defenders and get balls wide and put them into the box, that's a lad that's going to score goals in the CPL. And he's still got a lot of room for growth, which is probably the most exciting part.
Final question. I feel like we're covering all aspects of the field right now. We have a defender, we've got a striker. Let's go in the midfield. And many coaches, including yourself, will say, win the midfield, you win the game. I'm sure you won a lot of games with Ray and Lynn this season. What are they getting out of him at Valor?
They're getting the lad that is the first name on our team sheet every single week. Probably a player that will be incredibly hard for us to replace in the future. Covers every blade of grass, looks after your centre backs. If your fullbacks go pushing on, he looks after them. Unbelievable ability to read the game and step in at pace, breaks so much up. And a lot of players do that, but then when he wins the ball, he does something with it. Very useful, great technician, retains possession all the time. And, you know, there's things that you talk about in people over players, and it's bravery and it's passion and it's heart and it's pride. He brings that. I think Valor are very, very lucky. I think they're very smart. In my opinion, you know, he'd be one that I would say top pick for me is Rain Lynn.
What a fantastic scouting role. That's why I'm so glad we had you on, you know, because we can have coaches talk about this. We can play highlights. I can talk about it, but nobody knows these players better than you. So, Dino Morley, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on another fantastic year and the reward of getting 3 players drafted inside the first 4 picks. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a brilliant show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Your Canadian men's national team is about to put on a show. Sensational! Oh, Canada! Oh, baby!
What have we got for you in store? Wow, what a week we've got. 3 big games there. Oh, Canada, oh, baby, indeed, my friend Gareth Wheeler. Live on One Soccer, obviously across Canada as well on Sportsnet. 3 enormous games starting next Thursday. Canada in Honduras, the World Cup qualifiers, followed by a return in Hamilton against the US on the 30th, and then to El Salvador. 3 games 9, 10, and 11 in their quest for 14 World Cup qualifiers to take them to Qatar. Quick technical note, apparently some people watching on Twitter, it is down for some users. If you can also go to our stream on YouTube if you're struggling with that as well. Before we get into the second round, let's recap our picks from the first round, as 8 players have already seen some of their dreams come true. Jose Cunha to Atletico Ottawa, Cairo Cora goes to FC Edmonton, also from Cape Breton University, Christopher Campoli at 3, Rain Lynn at 4, and we just heard a fantastic scouting report from Dino Morley on him. Christian Rossi at 5, the Rookie of the Year from the U Sports in 2021. Caden Rogozinski at 6, Guillermo Pianelli at 7 to Forge, and Luca Ricci to the Champs Pacific FC at 8. Okay, let's start the second round. And as I said earlier, Atletico Ottawa are on the clock. So let's go back to our nation's capital and bring in their CEO, Fernando Lopez, who is here to make their second pick. Fernando, great to see you again. Over to you, my man.
Thanks, KJ. With the second pick, Atletico Ottawa selects Julian Bruce from the University of Montreal.
Julien Bruce from the University of Montreal, another pick from the Caravans, the second 1 or 2 in a row now. A 23-year-old winger from Montreal, Quebec, goes back-to-back with his college teammate. Bruce, born in France, also grew up in Paris at the PSG Academy, scorer of 3 goals, 3 goals in 12 games in this past season. Also trained at the noted Clairefontaine Academy in France, but he scored that massive 114th winner in extra time, goal in extra time before the penalties in the national championship game. An athletic winger as well. Julien Bruce goes to Atletico Ottawa. Just one question for you this time around, Fernando. What was it about him that attracted to you guys this time?
Well, Julian is an incredible athlete who is a handful for defenders, whether he's playing on the left or the right wing. He offers a threat not only by running behind, but because of his exceptional driven abilities. I think that with the experience and the track record that he has shown playing in big games, such as the U Sport National Championship, I think we find in him a very intriguing prospect that we are looking forward to see what he's capable of during our preseason.
Outstanding stuff. You'll get a chance to be with some great players there under a new coach in Ottawa. Fernando, thanks so much for your time tonight. Congratulations on 2 new acquisitions, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, KJ. Good night.
Good night. Appreciate it. Fernando Lopez, the CEO. Big things happening, by the way, in Ottawa with more signings to come there. A big year ahead, no doubt about it. FC Edmonton are on the clock, and we'll go out to Alberta now to be joined by Alan Koch out there, who joined us in the first round as well. Alan, over to you to make your pick in the second round, please.
Yeah, with the 10th pick in the 2022 CPL U Sports Draft, we picked from the University of Montreal, Quentin Palmier.
Quentin Palmier from the University of Montreal. Well, we have history, everybody. This is the first time 3 players in a row have ever been taken from the same school in the U Sports Canadian Premier League draft. Palmier, also like Bruce, is from France. He's 23. And if you haven't seen it, watch this. That is a 95th minute free kick goal in the national championship to take it to extra time. And that's the kind of player he was. Palmier from Marseille also played with Olympique Marseille, captain of the Carabins, scored 3 goals this season, a very dynamic midfield player. But that's the notes I have. Alan, I think more people will be more interested to hear what you and your team think of him. Over to you for the scouting report, please.
Yeah, we think he's got a fantastic football brain. Obviously, he's got great technique. You saw the goal that he scored there in the national championships. And we love the intensity he plays with. So we're excited to bring him in, take a look at him. But he's the type of player we want to see in the midfield. We want to start to impose ourselves more on teams as we progress. And we're excited to see what he can do when he gets to Alberta.
Alan, just a quick one. I know it's been a bit of a different off-season. FC Edmonton fans, I was out there with you in November with many of them. Some of them absolutely love this club. They're loyal. They're eager to hear things. What's your message to them right now as we get together to build this squad?
Yeah, I think firstly, we love our fans and our supporters. We don't take anything for granted. And, I'm KJ. I don't sugarcoat things. This has been a challenge, obviously, for everybody, for our supporters, for everybody with the club as we go through this transition. We had a plan. We've had to change. We're having to pivot. We've lost some players that we actually wanted to retain through this process. But today is a new start. We're excited to move forward with the club, embrace the challenge. We're excited to welcome the 2 players that we picked tonight into preseason, and looking forward to adding other players. We've got a lot of work to do. Obviously, we're a long way behind right now, but we're excited to embrace this challenge, and we're excited to put on a quality product for our supporters this year. And I know they're all chomping at the bit, but we're chomping at the bit to get going. We're working very, very hard behind the scenes to move things forward, and we're excited for the season.
And I know they've got a very positive influence and a great leader in yourself, Alan, as well. So keep up the great work. Thanks so much for your picks, and congratulations on your 2 picks tonight, Alan. I appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks, KJ. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Alan Koch out of Edmonton. You won't find a better guy. Edmonton fans, if you're looking to look forward to some positive things going into the season, your players will come very, very shortly. All right, next to the pick, we'll go to the next pick. And for that, we go out east again to Mr. Stephen Hart for Halifax Wanderers are on the clock. Over to you, Stephen, to make the 11th pick.
Yes, with the 11th pick from the University of Guelph, we select Colin Gander.
Colin Gander from the University of Guelph just turned 22. He's a left back from Kitchener, Ontario, who used to play for the Toronto FC Academy. He made the move to Kitchener and Guelph following a stint in the NCAA with Missouri State. He's a third-year economics student, instrumental, by the way, in the team's run to the Final Four. The second player ever taken from the Guelph Griffins, and a left back gets drafted out of Halifax. Fantastic to see some of his clips here as well, as he swings in a brilliant play on the left-hand side. Also comfortable, I believe, playing as a left wing back. But Stephen, I'd rather hear that from you. What is it about Colin that attracted to you and your team to make this pick?
Well, you said it. He's a left wing back that he can get up and down the park, delivers quality crosses, and he seems to know exactly when to join the attack. And that's important for us because it's a position of need for us. So we're hoping that it works out for him and he enjoys himself here.
Stephen, before I let you go quickly, your squad assembly is pretty consistent to last year. I think you bring it back at about 15 players, and then Aidan Daniels comes in. How excited are you ahead of the preseason to the way that the squad is assembling and some of the new recruits coming in?
Yeah, of course. I can't wait to get going. As you know, I don't do well without football, but we're excited how the squad is coming along and how the trialists that we are bringing in, how they push everybody to be at their best. So I'm looking forward to it.
Appreciate this, Stephen. Thanks so much, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Stephen Hart in Halifax. Valor, I believe, are the next team on the clock, and we'll go straight out to Winnipeg to bring in their general manager and head coach, Philip Desatos, to make the next pick. Philip, over to you.
Yes, with the 12th overall pick, Valor selects Jacob Carlos from Ryerson University.
Jacob Carlos is a 20-year-old central midfielder, as Philip says, out of Ryerson. Carlos is out of Mississauga, Ontario, another former Toronto FC Academy player, attack-minded player according to scouts, first-year student studying arts and contemporary studies, scorer of 2 goals this season, and a 5th midfielder taken so far in the draft, second one to Valor. And as you can see here, great player overall in midfield who distributes very well and breaks up as well. So Jacob Carlos is the next pick taken in the CPL U Sports Draft. Phil, what was it about him that you liked?
Yeah, different player than Rain, player that could get in higher spots, higher positions, that likes to eat space when he has it in front of him. It's a player that also has a good passing ability, but also some definition in his play, has the versatility of also playing in wide areas. So we see in him a lot of potential. And again, he's a dynamic player, a player that fits with what we want to see in players in this team. So we're excited to see him.
Quick one, Phil, before I let you go. How much are you enjoying this process? Obviously, for those not aware, you joined the team last season down the stretch, coached the last 10 games. Very entertaining brand of football, lots of goals. The off seasons are long, aren't they? But there's a lot of work to do. How much are you enjoying it?
They are. It's great. It's great to see also, or to come to a place where there's a foundation. So we had a good core already in place, and we had a few decisions to make that are not always easy, but there's a lot of things that come into account. The fact that it was a bit longer for the first time, I think in my career, it was good that it was long, because last year had been a bit crazy. So it allowed me to digest things and to look at how things are done and have a better grasp of rules and better grasp of what this club needs. So it was good for me to have a big period. But I'm excited. I want to get started, and I think everyone does right now.
Well, we appreciate you being in the league, and we appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much, and congratulations on your 2 picks tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Phil Desatos out in Winnipeg for Valor. York have been on the clock, and I think they're ready to make their next pick. So we'll bring in their head coach, now Martin Nash, to make the next pick in the draft. Over to you, Martin.
With the 13th pick, York United are delighted to select Soji Olatoi from York University.
Familiar name to York United, as Soji Olatoi from York University gets to stay home, a 22-year-old winger from Brampton, student drafted by York, his 4th-year psychology student. Olatoi has played at the noted Sigma Academy and is another player that came back to Canada from NCAA. He attended LaSalle in Philadelphia for 2 years, where he became a real crowd favorite down there. Named U Sports second-team All-Canadian, 5 goals and 4 assists in 7 starts this season. Also scored a great goal against the defending champions Carlton in a game I remember watching as well. Martin, pretty simple question. What is it about him that you enjoyed watching, and why would you want to take him in this draft?
Yeah, he's an exciting local talent. His ability to score and create goals is something that really drew me to him, and it's a talent and a skill to score goals, and it's something we're looking for in this team.
Well, we appreciate that. It certainly looks like he's going to be a dynamic player for you. A quick one for you, Martin. Obviously, a lot of players have returned. You've got a lot of stability in the roster, but there has been a little bit of a new international flavor coming in. How excited are you for some of those players to join your team?
Yeah, I'm real excited to see them. A lot of flavor and, guys coming into a new environment, new culture. So we'll have to integrate them into the group. But yeah, a lot of talented and exciting young players that I look forward to working with.
We look forward to seeing you take lead of a team for the first time this season. Certainly something you absolutely deserve. Martin, thanks so much for your time tonight, and congratulations on your 2 new players.
Thanks, KJ.
Appreciate it. Martin Nash from York United. We go to his former employees now out into Alberta, and we bring in Tommy Wilden Jr. again for their second pick in the draft. Tommy, we'll bring it over to you for the 14th pick. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you, KJ. And for the 14th pick of the second round, Cavalry FC select Marcus Kaiser out of the University of the British Columbia.
Another player very familiar with Tommy already, a 19-year-old central midfielder from Calgary, and also known of the Calgary Foothills products, drafted by Cavalry here. A second-year student studying biochemical engineering. The UBC Thunderbird is, of course, the younger brother of Daniel Kaiser, who played last season in all of Cavalry's first 11 CPL games. He was very good for them before getting hurt with a high ankle sprain and obviously returning back to school. But Marcus Kaiser of the University of British Columbia is a player that Tommy knows is very familiar with. I think he's trialed with you as well in the past. Tommy, what do you like about him? And obviously getting to know the family a lot, I'm sure it's a pick you're very familiar with.
Yeah, it's a strong family, so just keep producing one after the other. But he's a very technical player. He's got a great engine on him. He's got the ability to cover multiple positions on the pitch, which I think both in CPL and obviously U Sports is important. But he's got a 10 out of 10 mindset, and I think sometimes we overlook that in football in lieu of other things. And the lad will come in and he'll compete for a spot. And yeah, we're excited to have him. He's one that we've obviously known a lot about. And you know, we took Daniel Kaiser last year on a U Sports deal, having not even drafted him. But I think, you know, Marcus is, 2 years younger, and he adds something a little bit different to our team. And we'll look forward to welcoming him in pre-season.
Wonderful. Pre-season starting soon, even though it's pretty cold all across Canada, no doubt in Calgary as well. Tommy, thanks so much for this tonight. Congratulations on bringing 2 new players into a fantastic organization that you run there with Cavalry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Tommy Wilden Jr. Forge are on the clock, and we'll go out to Bobby Smirniotis now as he bring in from Hamilton, Ontario, their technical director and head coach. Bobby, over to you for the 15th pick.
Yeah, with the 15th pick, Forge FC selects central midfielder from McMaster University, Mo Ashakman.
Mohamed Al-Shakman, another selection to a local market with a team that they know well. We just saw that with Marcus Kaiser, and we saw it with Soji Olatoy with York, and then we get 3 in a row. Obviously, Hamilton know pretty well with McMaster University. Al-Shakman is a first-year life science student at McMaster who just turned 20 this month. A central midfielder from Hamilton, who is, of course, a Sigma Academy player as well. In the past, sees himself as a player that can play at an 8 and a number 10. Good vision and awareness. Obviously, certainly looks like a little bit of a young Carl Becker, and I'm sure he'd love to be one of Carl Becker one day. But Bobby, what is it about Mo that caught your eye?
Yeah, Mo's a player we know very well through his time at Sigma and being with the team with Forge through training periods last season. So he's a central midfielder who's very good, busy guy, can get the ball forward. He's good in and around the box, and I think that he developed a lot very well in this season in U Sport with McMaster University. Again, a local product for us, somebody we know well, and I think fits right in.
Before I let you go, I would love to ask you about what's coming up pretty quickly for you. I know your team's starting to come back a bit earlier than others, and that's because you are in the CONCACAF Champions League last 16 against Mexican Giants Cruz Azul, games on February the 16th and the 24th. I know we spoke publicly and privately about how much that excites you, but how's the feeling around the group as you start to bring players back in?
Yeah, we're back in tomorrow, so we're getting ourselves started. So we're looking forward to that. As you mentioned with one of the previous coaches, sometimes the off season is a little bit long, so we're happy to get going. We got a big task ahead of us with Cruz Azul, something we're looking forward to in the next few weeks ahead. And I think it's a big moment for our club and for what we're building here, but also for the league all around in having a club compete in the Champions League this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Congratulations on fantastic success in 2021 and for 2 new players that you get a chance to look at tonight. Bobby, thanks so much for your picks and your time.
Thank you very much, KJ.
Appreciate it. Bobby Smirniotis of Forge. Let's go out now to the island and finish off the draft. We'll be joined by their associate head coach and technical director, James Merriman. Over to you to make your final pick.
Thanks, KJ. With the 16th pick, Pacific FC selects Reese Gorton.
Reece Gertson is a player out of the University of Victoria, another local product going to a local team, a 21-year-old Ireland boy drafted by the team on the island. A right-footed centre-back listed at 6'2", third-year psychology student, has had stints in the past with Victoria Highlanders, the Vancouver Island Wave, Whitecaps, and of course Calgary Foothills. Describes himself as an athletic defender with pace, good technique and awareness. So you can see certainly has some good observations here in some of these clips and just how well he reads the game as well. James, over to you and your team. What was it that attracted to you, a player that you obviously know pretty well, being such a local product?
Yeah, he's a local product, and he's a player that the coaching staff at UVic, Nico Crivero, speaks very highly of, especially his attitude and his approach to the game. He's got great athleticism. He's been very versatile. He came in as an attacking player. He ended up becoming a central defender. He's also played at right back for UVic. So his athleticism, his versatility, and his attitude, makes him a very exciting prospect and somebody that we're interested in and continue working with a university in our backyard as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he gets to be drafted by the champs. Are you ready to hear that more often than not this year? You got a bit of a target on your back. You're all looking forward to that?
We're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, but you're looking forward to having the target on your back as being the hunted in 2022?
Yeah, it comes with the territory, right? So, but we know that, and the players know that. So we're excited to come back together and start to train again. And, everyone's had a good break, but players will start to travel back soon here.
Sounds great. Thanks for joining us, James. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, KJ.
Appreciate it. That's James Merriman and Pacific FC as they conclude the draft. That is it. 16 players have been taken tonight by these teams. A reminder, they all get obviously opportunities now to go and show what they can do. We're going to show you these draft picks very shortly as we wrap up the show. A fantastic night, as you can see there, what some of these great players have got opportunities to go. And as I mentioned off the top, players in the past have been drafted and still stick with these teams. And now we've got players drafted in this league by this in this pathway that are getting chances in Europe. So any of these players tonight, you're looking at what opportunities they have, and some real different kind of caliber players as well. Some great defenders. We've got some midfielders, attacking wide players, box-to-box midfielders as well, and also some real strikers. So there are your 16 players. A reminder, we will have a long recap on campl.ca and on all our social media channels to look back at some of these 16 players that were drafted as well. Cannot thank Jose Cunha enough. João Felix for joining as well. All 8 representatives of the clubs. Thank you to Dino Morley as well from Cape Breton to join us to talk about his players. And that was really enlightening to hear some of his scouting reports from a coach's point of view as well. Massive thanks for you. Thank you for spending your time with us tonight and joining us and seeing this exciting draft unfold. Certainly been exciting. And if you're a player that got drafted tonight, congratulations. As Isaiah Johnston said off the top, it's a moment you will never forget, but the hard work just starts now. Congratulations. Welcome to the Canadian Premier League. It's going to be a fantastic season. You can watch all the games live on One Soccer and across all our socials as well for all the news. Thanks again for spending Thursday night with us. Congratulations to the 16 players, and we'll see you all soon.